a message for those on the divine journey of sacred union, who have recently felt kind of a shift very recently. Okay, it's almost like you've been preparing over a recent cycle for something to come through. Past versions of you are showing up to see. It's kind of like you might be triggered by your environment, by people, that kind of thing. But ultimately, it's all offering a mirror to you is what I'm hearing. There's something big about choices for this message. Choices. How are you continuing to make the decisions that you have been making? Because if you're still allowing the need for external validation to influence your decision making, the emotion, any kind of emotional manipulation or lustful kind of energies that are still determining you access on your energy, your emotion, then that is not you in wholeness. Your sacred union is your union within yourself. It exists inside you. Okay? Everything and everyone who has been on your life path to this point, from the day you were born to this very day, karmic energies, all of it, they're all the ones who haven't given you the love, protection that you needed, any validation that you needed from caregivers, etc. Was all to show you. This is not an excuse for those kind of behaviors at all, okay? But it is for you to recognize, try to understand this better, to recognize actually all along it was a mirror for you to look inside and say, my soul journey is here for me to fill in those missing gaps for me. This is part of this incarnation for me, right? Again, no excusing anybody else's behaviors, but that has shown you the kind of darkness and shadows that exist in the world, right? Anytime you are in your light, and when you're on the divine journey, you naturally have a beautiful divine light. You truly do, because it's needed in this world. And when any kind of darkness outside of you sees that, they will want to get in, right? But what they'll do is they'll be feeding on the shadow that already exists inside you. Okay, so these are all opportunities for you to check yourself, for you to look at yourself, and really, in order for you to find that sacred union within yourself, you have to meet yourself in the mirror. You have to face your shadow, your reflection. You have to be truthful with yourself. Anyone who has entered your path in any way, shape or form, who you have allowed to, again, this isn't, they need to take accountability and responsibility for how they have behaved. And sometimes people don't, for how they've mistreated you. And you can't keep holding on to that and waiting for that to come. You have to really recognize that actually it's on you now to call that power back to you, truly, and to be the best version of you. There's really something here about, there's something, yes, about boundaries, but I just feel like there's, you've had this deceptive energy, and even if somebody is this, does have the label of twin flame or whatever you want to call it, understand, rename it. That's a catalyst. They're your catalyst, truly. Have you, what within you, yes, okay, there might have been, you might naturally be very empathic? I don't know. You're an empath, right? Of course you are. That's a beautiful, beautiful gift you hold, but that doesn't excuse other people's behaviours towards you. It truly doesn't. But also, I'm getting mixed messages with these cards as well, so I'm going to go in on that in a second. But there's also this energy of just because you have this beautiful quality of understanding that someone has been through these traumas, etc., whatever they've been through since they were a very child, does not mean that is an excuse for them to mistreat you now that they are an adult. Anyway, somebody continues to make decisions that are completely out of alignment with their divine self, that they are being divinely guided into, that healed self, that more, no one's ever perfectly healed. I want to make that clear. Human experience, I've said this before, is by default to be flawed. That's the whole point of you being here, right? You're evolving. Your soul is evolving as you experience this incarnation. Every time you make a certain decision, you really need to ask yourself which part of you, when you were a child or just a super younger age, was not validated, that you then needed to think, you were made to feel that you needed to prove your worth, or you needed to search that external validation, you needed to be something for someone, to others, which is not the case, which was not you in your wholeness, which was actually your energy being fed on and mistreated. How are you now allowing yourself to embody those qualities that were, put onto you in a way where you're cycling that trauma, that hurt now onto others, right? Maybe not in the same way, but because of the qualities that have still not been processed and healed, right? This might not be you, this might be somebody you're connected to, but there's definitely an energy here that this is something, a cycle with the world here that is coming through. Queen of Swords and the Emperor. again, boundaries, but I do feel like somebody has been dealing with the third party karmic energy here. Maybe it's mother wounds. I'm not sure. No, it's not mother wounds. I think it's to do with some kind of emotional decision they made from their ego, to do with an emotional, I've heard emotional investment. And there was a loss here, right? A real sadness. But again, they weren't operating in their divine self, right? They were operating from really, really deeply wounded inner deep feminines. And it seems like it could have been a masculine energy actually who hadn't healed their inner feminine. Again, that sacred union is within you. Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck as well, okay? This Knight of Cups led to this Five of Cups. It's like almost like being led by illusion. It feels to me like somebody behind the scenes was kind of pulling the strings. So there's this Emperor energy, but behind the scenes, like I think this Emperor was heavily invested in, again, I'm going to say the pulls on their lower energies. So, greed, lust, especially lust here. And just not being able to process their emotions is what's coming through, truly. And this is what led their forward movement. However, they've been grieving this. I'm getting this energy, but I'm going to say it. So maybe something they're thinking or you're thinking is kind of like, but how long do you need to be doing this for? Okay, grieving isn't something that you just get over. It's something that, again, you cycles. You have to really recognize each version of you, that each layer that's being released every time, okay? It's like somebody wants to make a move towards someone with this Lovers card. That's the Gemini season, okay? The Lovers, which, depending which astrology you follow, is currently, okay? They want to make a move towards this energy. That's them following their heart. This is just confirmation of what was coming through the Hanged Man. Something about the time this has taken to manifest. When there's like these deep traumas beneath the surface, it takes time. When you have acted in ways that are just, imagine somebody really, abandonment, rejection, making you feel less than, truly, all because they have not addressed their own traumas beneath the surface. They see you, if anything, in your golden glow, and they are so triggered by that, and they end up, this is what comes to the surface, this kind of behavior from them, right? This is what they're understanding, and it's taken them a while to understand this, because truly they, like I said, I think they've been attached to someone or something that's really been, I've heard manipulation there very specifically came through. Page of Pentacles, they want to put things right. An offer on the table is what I'm hearing. Six of Cups, confirmation. This is a past energy they really want to move towards, but my God, do they know that they are going to have to work hard for this. I feel really emotional suddenly. I think that this is somebody who they hurt. Truly. There's definitely this forward movement. We've got the Chariot and the Knight of Pentacles, but it's about doing things right this time. But not allowing your Four of Wands at the bottom of the deck. There's some really beautiful cards coming through, but I will say it's kind of like not allowing that subconscious to rule anymore. Not allowing things to be beneath the surface and in the shadows anymore. That's the problem. There's been too much beneath the surface in the shadows. Okay. There's this desire to want to create something so beautiful. Truly. But again, it's kind of not being led by illusion anymore, not being led by this third party energy. Again, the Three of Cups here. I think, again, I'm getting that lusty energy, Page of Cups as well. I think that in the past, maybe that's another thing, is this somebody who has spoken bad on your name? Is this somebody who has, for their own reasons, to validate themselves by other people around them, supporting them because they want to be validated, you know what I mean? Hi. But there's somebody who seems to be regaining their independence, is what I'm hearing. Somebody's regaining their independence. Ten of Pentacles, this is what the offer on the table is, to create this beautiful Ten of Pentacles energy. Abundant. I'm hearing abundant lifestyle especially must be important to one or both of you, okay? But this is what they recognize they lost. And they're wondering if it's going to be an opportunity to regain it, but I think that you need to understand you can't regain it. This needs to be something completely brand new if the past happened the way it did. there's like these new actions that are wanting to be taken towards this absolute dream, wishes coming true, dream for fulfillment is what I'm hearing. But I also think that this is actually might be a two-way thing. You both want these, you have very similar mirrored kind of desires and wishes that you want fulfilling. But look, High Priestess, no one's spoken on it. It's all beneath, all here, happening here. There's a veil that needs to be lifted, and it's a very specific physical veil, I will say. I'm hearing a coming together of two without the third, is what I'm hearing. There's been so much third-party interference here. Somebody's allowed external energies to get in, and that's really sad. So sad, truly, especially if this is loyalty. With this Ten of Pentacles, you want loyalty, stability, commitment, trust, and you've allowed third-party energies to enter the vicinity. Of course, someone's going to have their boundaries up. Everybody has the power and the ability to change. And you know, the divine journey is one of the strongest examples of that, truly. You will know this within yourself, who you have become. Okay. There's kind of this need for this balance of how much. I think somebody really needs to speak their truth, and this is what has been on pause for a very long time. Four of Wands did want to come out. Okay. I think that there could have been, again, there's been some kind of destructive connection that they continue to go back to, whether this is somebody who they felt like they needed some kind of validation from. Maybe it's somebody who betrayed them and they allowed them back in just because they felt like it was validating. Again, that's that really that inner child that needs to be addressed, because you do not allow that, you know, this is just, if it's a karmic energy who you know has made you feel a certain way, you just simply haven't processed the emotions and gone through that healing, then there's clearly something there that needs to be addressed. Okay. Oh, okay. I think somebody has been going through this healing, because we have the Page, the Knight, and now we have the King of Cups, and that's all in the same row. And that's with the Hanged Man, which is saying that the reason there's been a pause, someone has seriously been emotionally maturing, working on their emotional maturity. They're ready. Three of Wands and the Four of Wands are ready to move forwards towards stability. The Tower. Whatever these third-party energies are, they've had to go through destruction after destruction. They have not. You cannot continue to tell someone anything until they experience it for themselves. You can keep saying the same thing. You can even keep listening. They can even keep listening to people who are telling them the same thing. But until they finally see themselves, truly, until you finally see yourself, you're not going to make change. That's so sad, because I think it's had to happen the way it has, because clearly this is somebody who has a really strong purpose here. This emotional maturity is so needed. They're needed to be in this emotional space, not just for themselves or their purpose. That is clear. You know, it's like when you're people talk about manifestation. You know, for you to really be in that position to have and hold that manifestation, you have to really clear through every block inside of you that cannot be seen. You know, it manifests in its own way, but it can't be seen, right? It's the same thing with your kind of emotions. You can't tell anyone anything. They have to clear through, no matter how much they hear or see it, they need to clear through whatever's stopping them beneath the surface. The Queen of Cups has just come out with the King of Cups. And the Nine of Pentacles. Very independent energy. Working on, needs to be working on her abundant path. Has experienced this Ten of Swords. And I think that sadly, it's with this King of Cups in the past from this Knight Page energy. That's really sad. There's had to be an ending to this cycle of the past, because you both clearly, I think that you allowed certain things. You know, I think that you knew there was a third party energy involved, but you were still continuing to connect with this person. You know, sometimes a connection is not the same as, you know, being so emotionally invested, but maybe you did confuse that for emotional investment. But clearly something was crumbling beneath the surface on this Emperor's energy. And they were, I've heard looking for a distraction, which is again very sad. But I think they found more than that, and I don't think that's what they were intending on. Okay, and this is where there was so much confusion with their emotions. There was so much unprocessed beneath the surface. There was so much in their reality that was just still holding them back and had a control over them. And on top of this, now there was this beautiful energy that they were seeing something with real potential. And how can they hold that when they've got so much bubbling beneath the surface and right in front of their face that they're not addressing, or at least they're addressing to the best that they can, right? But again, they were influenced by all these third-party energies. Like, it could be friends or whatever, you know, whether it's hearing kind of voices. I will say this. We've got this beautiful King of Cups and Queen of Cups. But we've also got the King of Wands with the Queen of Cups. Now, this could be, to me, with the Six of Cups, it's telling me that there's somebody who really has a lot of passion towards this energy. But unfortunately, in the past, they have been lust-driven towards this energy. What they don't realise is what they were actually being enticed by was this person's heart, their loving energy. The Ten of Cups. Oh, that's come out with the Nine of Cups. This actually, and the moving forwards cards here. So this is, and the Two of Wands. This is really about having true, honest conversations here. Your emotions on the surface, no longer beneath the surface, no longer lying about what's been happening, but making it very clear. Love yourself first, self-respect. Making it very clear. You know, I think you can't do a half a job when it comes to divine connections. It doesn't work like that. Really, it doesn't, which is why you need to find that union within yourself. You need to create that space within you. You need to create that vulnerability, that strength you have to hold your own vulnerability. This is exact confirmation, heart-to-heart conversations, what I've just said. That's what needs to happen. Understanding where there might have been kind of addictions of the past, again, you know, fueling this forward movement, which is not the healthy space, the divine space to be fueling a divine connection, right? Within yourself or with anybody, retreat, disconnection. Of course, there's been disconnection, codependency at the bottom of the deck. There's this need to disconnect from anything that's feeding into this. I've heard maladaptive behaviours, I'm not sure. So just anything that's preventing you from finding that alignment within yourself. You know, anything that's actually replacing the love that you should hold for yourself, right? So when you feel that space, that void inside you, but truly, again, you know, what your decisions being fueled by? They're being fueled by fear, by guilt, by obligation, by loneliness, by need for validation, you know, all of these things. Or are they being fueled by truly what your heart sings for, right? Calling in your soul, your person here. It's kind of like you have this dream, this Ten of Pentacles in your mind, but how are you that person, right? And I think there's this understanding, there's lots of passion in this energy. I definitely think that there's this understanding, there's more of an understanding of, hold on a second, oh, that's what was fueling my decisions in the past, right? There's more emotional intelligence is what I'm getting through here, right? Which is what's helping somebody to really move forward with stable intentions from a place where the actions are trustworthy. That's confirmation that somebody's had external opinions fueling them as well. Maybe that, free yourself. Yeah, confirmation. They need to not be listening to anyone or anything that is A, does not understand their journey, and B, does not understand kind of everyone's opinions and viewpoints and perspectives in this journey, because that's just going to be kind of a manipulated version, because it's a one-sided version that's being then fed back to them, if that makes sense. That was a true love card that wanted to come through. That's my divine connection card. Okay. So much in this. I just feel like there's a lot here. Keep an open mind. Yeah, it's not meant to be a template. I've said this before. You're meant to break the patterns, break the mold. Yeah. Break the subconscious patterns of limitations. This is the one, you've already met the person you're seeking. Okay, engagement at the bottom of the deck. I'm getting the impression here that somebody's had to go through external connections here in order for them to emotionally mature to be ready for this divine kind of sacred connection. Yeah, look at that. Sticking up the Judgment card. They've had to go through awakenings, Hierophant, true deep soul lessons here with these third-party energies. It's taken them a while. They've been investing in places and people specifically that were just, Nine of Wands. They were healing through. They were literally the Star card as well. They were healing through these people. You know, everybody on your journey is to teach you that soul evolution, and you really do heal through, I guess. But it's kind of like they were also playing at their wounds with these people, and these people were allowing that, right? They were kind of can't think of the word, but they were just kind of enabling it, right? And just when somebody needed to really address their wounds, they were just allowing them to sit in their shadow. Or maybe I also feel like they might have had people who were just like allowing themselves to be a walking mat to this individual. Nothing will come of this situation. That's that third party energy. So if somebody's worried or concerned about kind of something there, then they need to understand that that's kind of, I think there's something about closure or something that they feel the need, time to give rather than take. What do you need to release? Somebody needs that time and space to release this. Truly, what they've recognised, nothing will come out, and yet they still allow themselves to keep operating from, they're a king, but there's this page, and the night they keep kind of, that's keeping them in hanged man mode. Keeping them in this energy, or has kept them in an energy of like the emotional loss and sadness. Whereas moving forwards is a beautiful picture. I mean, gosh, got the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups, 9 of Cups, King and Queen of Cups. My God, be bold and make the first move. That's what somebody's preparing to do. New start is coming, you know, to gather that courage. From a space of truth this time, though. The answers you need are coming with the heart-to-heart conversation, that what I've just said as well. My God, have faith in your dreams. Okay, so there's definitely change on the horizon. But someone's really had to, I keep hearing emotional investment. They really need to check their emotional investments, you know, and how much they're investing in themselves as well. Because that's going to determine how much they're investing in their divine person, okay? A new romantic cycle begins. You know, what I'm getting here is that someone's subconscious mind was truly fueling their every decisions. They were just going in their head, going, but they didn't realise it was the emotions in the back were not being addressed, wounded inner feminine. And as a result, they were attracting, this is what they were attracting in return, which is why they continue to cycle through this. They're seeing past this now, they're seeing beyond, you know, the horizon, if you will. And they're also recognising how actually when they met this divine connection entered their energy field and, you know, in their physical reality, they were forced to step up into their masculine, is what I'm hearing. Work through your fears. They were forced to work through their fears to actually get to work. Everything they've been avoiding this entire time. Everything that they've been allowing themselves to avoid by, we've said this, the connections they've had or whatever it is that they've continued to take time to breathe out. It's important on this journey specifically, surrender to the divine, to really allow yourself that time and space, because this is like, you know, you can have shifts and things happen and you're very connected to the cosmos in that sense, right? So you're going to feel these shifts and these cycles, especially with the moon, just anything that's happening in the planets, whatever. But you know what? For you, the realizations and the constant transmutation is so much more like just ongoing, cyclic. You know, you're doing it for you, you're doing it collectively, generationally, lifetimes, all of this, okay? Guarded and protected. You are guarded and protected. Of course you are, by divine God. Of course you are. Innocence. Reconnect to this innocence. And when you do that with yourself, you'll see that in others as well, including your divine person. Truly, you'll recognise. I think that if you really are divine, a divine pair, you're going to reflect to each other so much, including that innocence. I know and trust your feelings. God is in charge. Again, you know, there's a lot of like divine is orchestrating so much, especially for divine unions, truly. And I think that's where things have to play out the way they have. And, you know, there's this you need to recognise, you need to see yourself the way divine sees you, through the eyes of divine. Divine has created you to be an example of divine on earth. How are you allowing yourself to be treated or treating yourself any less than? Truly, shield yourself, protect yourself. External energies, whatever it is, truly protect your energy, your entire vessel. Use your imagination and you'll see the answer. Okay, there's more to this than you recognise. I think sometimes you can, you know, especially in the society, the way people have so many opinions and whatever, you know, you can really be led to believe that things need to be a certain way, or, you know, whatever you're imagining is just, I don't know, crazy or whatever you want to call it. Everyone's a little bit crazy. But actually, truthfully, your journey is so unique. No one can tell you otherwise. So don't allow yourself to be led. Take your time making this decision. But there could be a divine feminine energy here who has a decision to make as well. which is why the boundaries kept coming through. But I feel like, divine feminines, they already see their vision. They see it ahead. They have full faith in it at this point, is what I'm seeing, which is why this space has been created for somebody to finally step up. At this point, somebody has already been making decisions in the past that have been led by this kind of hurt place, this wounded place, that they need to be able to now reach that point where they can step back and recognise that, right? And a decision they're about to make is very different, and they need to honour that truly, instead of cycling again, right? You and your loved ones are safe, you're on the right path. These are all confirmation cards. This is I feel really heated in this energy. So yes, there's a lot of passion here, but there's also, I think there's been a lot of serious, deep, emotional realizations, hurts, wounds beneath the surface that have had to be addressed. But there's so much love here, so much love, truly. And you need to give that to yourself first and foremost, no matter who you are embodied on in this journey, divine feminine, divine masculine, whatever that is. That union begins within yourself, okay? And the more you truly, truly give that to yourself and allow yourself from that space of your true divine love, your true divine truth, the more you can allow that outside of you. Yeah, it's not about ego, quite the opposite. It's about allowing your soul to evolve and no longer allowing yourself to be pulled down and just dragged down, okay? There's beautiful forward movement, there truly is, okay? Allow yourself to see that, your worthiness through it as well, okay? And each other's. And to really own up to whatever you need to, including your feelings here, okay? There's this energy of you truly are finding your alignment now. Really, that's why you are on the right path. You're trusting yourself. You're really, truly beginning to see yourself, which is what's aligning you with this beautiful new romantic cycle that's beginning. This energy that's really, really beautiful. And this is why you are guided truly to work through those fears now, to release what needs to be released, what has gone. Past versions of self, of others, all of it, so that you can focus on what's ahead, because what is ahead is your purpose, truly, and it's so important that you're preparing for this now, okay? This is no longer about painting anyone with any kind of same brush or whatever, okay? This really is about opening your mind to free your mind now, to allow divine to really come through, because like I said, God is in charge, divine is in charge of all of this right now, okay? Trust that, honor that. What a beautiful, it's beautiful. Any which way in the past you were not treated correctly, be that from a child all the way through to exes, past relationships, whatever it is, this is the time to release that, to forgive that. You do that by recognizing your worth, seeing your worth. You have these dreams, have faith in your dreams. Your focus needs to be ahead, right? And you can truly do that and emotionally invest in that moving forwards by releasing and forgiving the past, right? Not about other people. You don't need them present. It's about you recognizing that, hold on a second, I didn't deserve that. However, this is what it's taught me, and this is who I've become as a result. I get to be who I be now moving forwards. I get to make those decisions moving forwards. Your emotional investment isn't in the past coming back to make things better. It's not, you're going to be stuck there. It's about looking forward and saying, actually, how can I make things better moving forwards? Including the choices you are now making, the investment you're emotionally now giving moving forwards. Okay? Any which way you were not loved correctly in the way that you deserved, right? It's not your fault, but it's absolutely the reason and the way in which you can love yourself even more. And that takes strength, courage, okay? But you have that in your heart, I can see it. There's this guidance that whatever this third party energy is that it's trying to come in, or it's constantly there, whatever it is, right? That's what you need to be detaching from right now, is what's coming through as well, okay? Really important, because it's preventing this kind of final release. So you can finally really disconnect and release that and reclaim your power in order to move forward in this beautiful new beginning that is ahead. Truly, it's so nice. 9 and 10 of Cups. Pay attention to your dreams. Somebody right now is experiencing a lot of dreams, and they're telling them a lot about their subconscious mind. It's time to put to an end this feeling, this constant cycle of not being worthy enough, and anything that feeds into that makes you feel validated, right? It's time to put an end to that, because where you're headed, it's not about secrecy or staying behind the scenes or anything anymore. It's about really embodying your heart now, truly, as you move forward, your truth, and connecting to divine. The more you're actually telling yourself that you're not good enough or whatever it is, the more you're actually staying in that position of not being good enough or whatever it is, and not stepping up and taking that leap of faith, not just, you know what I mean? I'm here seeing there's a lot of like headspace in the mix for secret behaviours online or whatever it is that's been happening. That's what it's time to clear out, okay? You've got this world energy that's just come through, okay? With the death, there's a whole cycle really closing out now. This is going to actually determine how things happen moving forwards now, okay? It's in your hands. There's a huge message here to trust your intuition, truly. Not your fears, not your desires, your inner, deeper knowing. That's where the keys are held there, truly, okay? So get in touch with that. That, again, is a healed divine feminine within you, okay? Let me know if this reading was for you. Sending so much love.